So seeing that, so when we go back to, you said, okay, now I'm going to fight because I can't tell these guys what to do because I haven't fought. But was it also part of that? Like you knew the role that you were playing in their lives and like you really wanted to be able to have a good influence over them and that they would stick to it. And so was it the kids that got you into the ring initially, or
I mean, to be
a little bit of both?
I mean, to be real honest, it wasn't necessarily. I think it was being a woman in that sport, in this sport, is really challenging. You know, I mean, there would be times where people will come into the gym and say, well, I want to talk to the coach. And I say, well, I am the coach. I want to talk to the other coach. Or I want to talk to the owner. I'm the owner. I want to talk to the other owner. You know, it was just this constant, it just didn't stop.
Yeah.
It still doesn't stop.
Yeah.
But, and then I felt like, I need to prove that, like, I know my shit.
Yeah.
And obviously that it took stepping into the boxing ring to even be taken more seriously.
Yeah.
And it really helped to solidify my experience. But it also helped the kids to see, like, you can do it anytime you want. Like, you know, I think at that time, because I opened my gym when I was 26, and then I think I fought when I was 30. Like my first fight was at 30 or something. Yeah. And so, you know, these youngsters, like, we're running and they're running circles around me, of course, but they're like, wow, look at this 30-year-old woman, like, getting down. Yeah. You know? That's awesome. So yeah, I think that was like kind of a secondary benefit to doing that as well.
Do you remember that first fight?
Oh yeah.
Do you want to talk about it? Do you remember what you were feeling like before you got in the ring?
Yeah, so I was super nervous. I peed a lot. Like, you know, you get really nervous. And I remember stepping in the ring, and
Is she intimidating?
Absolutely. She was huge too. Like,
and she had fought before.
Really muscular.
Yeah.
Like buffed.
Yeah.
Like, I looked at her, I was like, oh my God. She's like, has more muscle than most of our teenage boys. And so, yeah, I was very intimidated. And I got a concussion from that fight, actually. It was a really tough fight. And, you know, the thing is that after the fight, like, you're in there and you don't feel the pain as much when you get hit. But afterwards, woo-wee, boy, you really feel it. And then you start questioning, like, what am I doing? Yeah. Like, do I really want to be in here, you know, getting hit? So you start to question that. And then you go through this whole kind of doubt process. Yeah. You know, at least I did. Yeah. And then you get past that and you go, you know what? I want to get better. You know, I want to go in there, and then you kind of envision, like, how you're going to kick some ass when you get back in there, you know? Nice. So, yeah, it was quite an experience. So you got a concussion, and so after that first fight, how long was it between the next one? Oh, probably at least half a year.
Is it, I mean, I'm sure it's kind of hard to find somebody that you can fight, like, in terms of weight and size, like, more so for women than men?
Yeah, I mean, it's different now. There are a lot more women boxing now. But yeah, before I fought at 125 before, and I'm 5'7", so, you know, it's just tough to even, there are not a lot of girls boxing, and then you have to find somebody who's in that weight class. So usually, like, at 125, you'd have, like, kind of shorter girls, but a little bigger, you know. But yeah, just not a lot out there to find. Like, now, you know, girls, especially in the amateurs, could box, you know, every month easily. There's a lot more girls boxing, so it's great.
Will you fight again, or when was your last fight?
Well, the thing is, with amateur boxing, so Olympic level boxing, there's age requirements, or I say where you know, you're too old to fight anymore. So when I was boxing, that age was 34. So it's gone up since then, but not by much. So once that was it for me. You know, I took the gloves off, and that was it.
But you put them on every day now. You took them off in the ring, but you put them on every single day.
Still working out.
Yeah. So you did fighting. You're building these gyms. You're helping kids. You know, what have you continued to learn about boxing? Like, what really keeps you in it and excited about it?
I love the strategy of boxing. I love watching very technical boxing matches because I still learn. You know, I've been in this sport for over 20 years, but I still am learning every time I watch. Even sometimes when I watch different coaches on social media, I'll learn a little bit of something. So I try to always be the student. But over that period of time, I have learned a lot about being a teacher as well. And so being able to kind of fine-tune my teaching and pass that along to other trainers so that it gives them the shortcuts that, you know, it doesn't take them as long as it took me. That's always amazing. But yeah, I'm constantly learning all the time.
I was surprised. I mean, not surprised, but surprised. Like, there's so much discipline to this. I can't talk about boxing and not talk about discipline. And I don't think I've shared this with you, but in my 20s, I taught ballroom dancing. Oh wow! And you know, it's the same thing. Like every part of your body has to hit frame to be able to dance with another partner, right? And and it's how your frame is interacting with the other person that tells it tells you where you're going to go. Like, you know, if they're leading you into. And I have these flashbacks now when you're teaching like the stance and different combos. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like ballroom dancing. Like, because when I feel it, I really feel it. I'm like, that's the right position because I can feel it coming up from the bottom like ballroom dancing.
Yes, boxing's a lot like that.
Yeah, it really is. Maybe that's part of why, like, okay, this makes sense for me, you know. But it's also, and you know this because you've seen me in class, like, because I realize it's so technical. I mean, after the first class, I actually am like, this is very technical, and I don't want to practice the wrong stuff. Like, you don't want to let the wrong stance, you know, and keep doing it over and over. So I'd rather go slow, which I am going pretty slow. I'd rather go slow because I know when I feel it, I'm like, boom, that's the muscle memory. Now I can add to that. I can add to that. I can add to that.
Yeah, no, that's a good point because a lot of times people will say, what can I do at home? And I'll say, don't practice your shadow boxing. Because sometimes, like you said, if you're doing it wrong and you're doing it over and over again, it's just boom, it just like implants into your brain. So, or I say, you know, you can shadow box, but like send me a video of what you're doing so that I can say, oh, like fix this, that, and the other thing. But I think like the conditioning part, skipping rope is a really good thing to do at home because not only for cardio, but it has a lot of eye-hand coordination, a lot of rhythm, a lot of timing. Like those are all huge aspects of boxing. So coordinating the hands and the feet are one of the, I think like one of the biggest keys to boxing is coordinating the same side of your body to move at the same time. Because we want to naturally move it opposite. You know, like when you walk, you have you know, your right arm goes out when your left leg goes out. So, but no, I can completely see that.
I've got to jump rope more. No, that like I said earlier, I just now I know, like I would have never been motivated to just get up and do cardio, but you can't. There's no way you would even last 5 minutes with all the movement and the discipline of boxing if you can't keep that, if you don't have some sort of cardio routine to like keep it up. Like I realize that now.
Exactly. And the thing, like when you're training to fight, there's a lot of what we call road work. So you do a lot of running, you do sprint work. All of that stuff comes into play so that you can spar longer and then fighting. So it's just like all these different levels. And I always tell everybody there's layers to boxing. So there's layers to it as far as the technicalities and what you learn. There's also layers to your conditioning when you're boxing. So it's not very black and white because someone will say, oh, well, you know, what's the trick to throw the left hook? Like, just give me those tips and I'll be able to do it. And like,
good luck with that.
That way, you know, it's just really like, I'll give you the tips and the cues and the pointers and, you know, and what it, you know, this is how you do it. And I'll break it down. Like, you know, I break shit down a lot. But it still is you kind of getting into your body and making it happen. But it's not going to happen just like that. You know, it's going to take a lot of time.
Especially if you're a person that's pretty much ignored your body because of the pain that you've been dealing with. I mean, it's really, that's been interesting too, to just go, oh yeah, I got to be in my body in this class now. Like I pretty much had one of those days where I ignored it. Like I'm retraining. It's not even retraining. I'm training myself to be connected wholly.
Connected to your
body. Because I disconnect all the time.
Yes.
All the time.
Oh my God. Connect to your body. Like your mind has got to, it's for everything. I mean, boxing, of course. I started lifting weights, I don't know, it's been at least 4 years now, which is, you know, that whole Boxing and Barbells program that we have going on. but it kind of was created because I started lifting weights and I was unable to contract my glutes. Like I didn't even what? But now to be able to put my mind on every muscle that I'm working is a game changer.
Yeah.
You know, it just completely transforms.
Do you think, like, so for office workers, so, you know, your friends that you could never work with in cubicles ever again, do you think it's a good idea to just, like, check in, like, probably on the hour? Like, I'm sure there are times that I've been sitting in an uncomfortable position and I haven't even moved because I've shut off, like, paying attention to my body. So maybe the start of being physically aware and being in your body is, like, even if you have to set an alarm, it's just to go, how am I feeling right now? Should I get up and walk? Do I need to move? I mean, this is why stand-up desks are a thing now, right?
Yeah. No, I think that's great. Like you said, like set a little alarm. I try to do it when I'm driving a lot. Sitting, of course, you know, when you're sitting at your desk, but for some reason when I'm driving, I try to be more aware because I'll feel like I'm just kind of, I'm just going along, or I start to get really tense, you know, and then I'm like lifting my shoulders up, and then you know, in boxing, you're supposed to be very relaxed, and so
that was the funniest thing that the funniest thing that she said in class overall. And relax. I'm like, oh, you okay? Well, yeah, let's relax. Like I'm learning all this new stuff, but relax. Cool. Yeah. Let me work through that.
That's one of the hardest
it's true
things.
though, and it's good for me because I carry stress here, and to be able to just kind of, you know, relax into that. It's actually perfect for me to have that reminder to go into something. But I'm not there yet. I don't want to be like, yeah, I've got this. But
you're getting there.
Yeah. Well, so let's talk more about the weightlifting and how that came about. So boxing and barbells. What is that?
So Boxing Barbells is so Damen Patrick, who is my fiance, is an IFBB Pro bodybuilder, and he competes in classic physique, which is kind of like the old Arnold days kind of physique. And he said to me, it was just kind of funny, he was being really sweet, and he's like, hey babe, you know, your posture's a little, you know, so I think we need to start lifting. So this is the thing, with boxing, you hold your shoulders, like, you roll them in, and so you don't stand up like this. So I had,
and you're not ever really square either, right? It's like you're kind of always on an angle, so you're not like,
you don't have your chest out and your shoulders back, which is good posture. So he said, let's go lift some weights. And also I have shoulder issues from boxing. And so we went through a weight training program. He took me through for over a year, probably 2 years. I just lifted with him, and he taught me everything that I could learn at that time about weightlifting. And again, connecting the mind body. I could do it with boxing, but it was still very different. Once I started lifting. I don't really know how to describe that, but when you're adding weight to your body and you're having to position your body a certain way to just use that one muscle and not use all of your muscles, and also use your lower back, which is a big no-no, to learn how to do that is, it took some time. But once I got through that, then I started adding the weight training with my boxing. And I thought, wow, this is awesome. Like I could really see my body change. My shoulder injury, my left shoulder was really bad, and it started to get better. So all these different things, my knee started to get better. I have a bad knee too. So I said to him, I said, you know, maybe we should create a program that is, you know, has boxing, it has weight training, kind of fuse them together. And he's like, yeah, that's cool. And I said, okay, well, let's think of a clever name, and let's, you know, create this whole thing. And so we started to create it last year.
He's boxing too? You taught him some boxing?
Yeah. So.
Do you spar with him?
No.
You're like, no.
No, but he has a big martial arts background, so he's like a black belt and all that stuff. And he's a huge boxing fan, which works out really well because, you know, our weekends are spent like watching boxing or watching MMA or something. So it's perfect. But yeah, so sometimes we'll go to the club like once a week and train together for boxing. And so basically it's just putting those two together and creating it in a formula that's really easy to learn for trainers so that they can teach other people, so that we could grow it. So that, you know, if you go to Dubai and you could do a boxing and barbells class.
Nice.
So yeah, that's kind of what the program is.
So what's the feedback that you're getting as you're out there training these trainers? Like why they like this better, or the two disciplines coming together? What do they?
I think a couple of things. One is boxing has just become super on trend in the fitness world. So boxing is where it's at. Everybody wants to do it right now. Weight training also, I think a lot of more women are figuring out that they need to start lifting weights as we get older, especially. So they're finding that there is a lot more importance to weight training. So I think that they're both two sports that are on trend right now. And when trainers come through the program, the first thing that they say is after the course is they say, I can't believe how much I just learned. And I can't believe that I stepped into this course not knowing anything about boxing, and now I'm leaving in 8 hours, and I feel like I could actually teach this combination. And that's huge because it makes me feel like we're doing it right. And we're staying very authentic to the sport. So there's no, oh, let's switch stances so that we're balanced on both sides. It's nothing like that. It's very traditional, authentic boxing and weight training. But it is done in a really structured format so that any trainer can learn it. And then also their clients can learn it.
Are some of the trainers trying to incorporate that into CrossFit too, or are they like other discipline? You're seeing like trainers come in that have other disciplines that are adding it.
Absolutely, yeah. We have a lot of CrossFit gym owners that are coming to the courses so that they can implement boxing in a more authentic way into their gyms. We even have boxing gym owners who are coming and they want to add the discipline of the weight training to their program and have a format. It's all a very formatted class, so that way they can, it's like a plug and play, so they can go, okay, well here's our bang it out workout, or here's our sting like a bee workout, and we're gonna do this on Tuesday, and it's all written out for them, which is great, because then they don't really have to create anything, it's already done. And then we do updates for the trainers, so every quarter we have updates, so we add more combinations, more weight training exercises.
So for someone that's working out on a regular basis, like they want the variety, right? Like they want to like be surprised a little bit, even though we go, oh, something, I was like, last class, oh, jump on that box, whoa, but you actually want to have to be challenged. If you're doing it, you want to be challenged. Like you want to be able to go home that night and go, I did that. Like, I mean, not done it that great, but I did it, and I'll be able to do it better the next time. So having this variety it helps to keep people motivated, I would think. Like
absolutely, and I think like the challenge part, aside from the actual workout part, the combination. So we have for each class, there's like one specific combination, and then you learn it, and then you build it up throughout class. So by the end of class, you're like, I got that. Like I can throw that combination with my eyes closed.
I like how you rotate, so we do some, cardio or whatever exercise, and then we go back to the bag, because for someone like me that's always in their head, it kind of helps me get out of my head too. If we're going to do the same thing over and over again, then I'm just like going through the memory of the steps, right? But if you mix it up, it's like, okay, you can't be in your head. You just have to go with the flow. Like you just got to go.
You just got to go.
You got to just do it. No excuses. No excuses.
For sure.
Cool. So is there anything, so you've owned gyms, you've boxed, you've developed this new program. Like, do you see, what else do you see for you? Like, you love this, I know. But what else do you, like, you're traveling, I mean, is there a goal on how many people get certified in boxing and barbells?
I mean, my big goal is to see the program in, gyms all across the world. Your 24-hour fitness, your Gold's gyms, your LA Fitness, like all of your large gym chains, I would love to see it on their group fitness schedule. I would also, the company is called B&B Method. So essentially the Boxing and Barbells is the first class format that's launched, but I'm creating now boxing in bands and boxing in boxes, which are steps, which is some of the stuff that, you're my R&D, like we
nice.
She's my guinea pig. So those will be all.
And other women that I love. I love Loretta. Shout out to Loretta.
Yeah,
I love being in class with her. I love her.
But that's what it is. It's just creating those different types of workouts that are boxing based. So boxing is the pinnacle of the class, but then there's different elements that are added to those. So basically, I want to be like Zumba, as far as the business model is concerned. It's just boxing based, and then we add different types of workouts to each one of those formats.
I think you can do it. From someone that, like, again, I can't even stress this enough. I can't believe that I'm this interested in it, and I'm really like, I'm gonna see it through. And like, even after the first class, I'm like, okay, I need my gloves. I gotta buy my gloves.
I need my own stuff.
Yeah, I'm gonna do this. So
yeah, boxing is really addicting, you know. And like you said, it's the challenge, but it's also empowering. I mean, you really feel like a badass when you can learn how to throw punches correctly, and you start to feel that power that you generate when you're hitting the bag. And the workout, I mean, lifting weights is empowering too. You know, that's one thing that I found too for me. When I started to lift a little heavier, and I was like, wow, this just feels so good. Yeah. You know, I felt strong.
Let's talk about that for a little bit, because I know I shared with you when we first talked, and I shared, you know, today on the show, that it was just all about, I really wanted to have the experience of feeling stronger, like just strength. Like, I live downtown. I've actually been assaulted 3 times down here.
What?
And it's off camera stories, but like, I was not excited to find myself in freeze mode. So, you know, fight, or freeze. Fight, freeze, or flight. So you run away, freeze, or you fight. Yeah. And I'm a freezer. And I did not like that experience, like that I froze a couple times. So having this ability to just feel like, oh, I've got something here. I have something to deliver back. Can you talk about that? Like, do you remember a time when you didn't feel strong, and like what the difference of being in different experiences now that you're like, I'm a badass. Like, I don't want to hurt you, but I could if I wanted to, you know?
You know, honestly, my father raised me to be a little badass from the gate. Yeah. So, but physically strong, I definitely feel that a lot more. Mentally, feeling like, you know, I'll tell you this story that when I was about 10, I wanted to go to the store around the corner to get some candy. And my dad said, you know, okay, well, here's some money. You can go to the store. It wasn't that far. Yeah. And I said, well, no, Dad, you have to go with me because those girls around the corner want to beat me up. And girls just want to pick on me, right? Yeah. And he said, no, he said, here's this stick. And you're going to go by yourself. If you have to use the stick, then use the stick on them. And I never questioned my father, so... I was like, okay.
I'll take the stick.
I took the stick. And so I start walking, and it's literally a block away. And as soon as I hit the set, because we lived on this alley, as soon as I hit the sidewalk, I could hear them behind me. It's like, oh my God, I just have to get to the store in time before they jump me. And I'm 10. I mean, I'm pretty young. Yeah. And so I get to the store, I'm like, okay, cool. I'm in here. I'm safe. And they're kind of outside waiting. So then I'm like, well, shit, what do I do now? They're not leaving. Yeah. And so I had to make this choice, you know. I'm standing there like, okay, well, I can't stay in here forever. I'm going to have to use the stick. So within myself, I was like, okay, I got to use it. So I go to walk up to pay for my candies, and I look down this one aisle, and I see somebody getting milk out of the you know, cabinet, whatever it is. Yeah. And it was my father. Aww. And he had followed me, but without me seeing him, because he wanted me to be brave enough to do that, and then also make that decision. He wanted to wait until I made that decision that I was going to stand up and I was going to walk out of there and beat the shit out of him if I had to. So again, thank you, Father, because, you know, he raised me to be strong in that sense. But physically, I didn't feel physically strong until I started lifting weights. I mean, boxing, I felt like if I could bloody a girl's nose, you know, I was like, wow,
it's pretty strong.
That's great. But see, the thing with boxing is that when you're very technical with it and you do it as a sport, it's a different type of thought. It's more like, I just threw that punch perfectly. It's very technical. It's not like I feel strong because I gave her a bloody nose. It's that I did it right. Yeah. But whereas I think for a lot of people coming into the sport, whereas like for you, you come into the sport and you're able to throw that punch and you're hitting the bag and you start to feel like this empowerment, that's a different type of strength that you're feeling. It may be something that you didn't feel or you didn't get instilled into you when you were younger. Definitely. But now you get to feel it. Yeah. And so I think that, you know, it's like a game changer for a lot of women coming into boxing. Yeah. Whether it be for a workout or for sport. So that's the thing. The thing with somebody walking around outside behind you and you feeling you know, you go, oh, well, I've taken boxing now I feel like I can whoop someone's ass.
Yeah.
But that's not really what it is. It's more like you walk down the alley now strong and present and aware.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden those people that are luring, they're like, well, wait a minute. She is fully aware that I am here now. And she doesn't look like she's going to back down. She doesn't look like she's going to freeze or run. She looks like she's going to stand there and fight me. Yeah. You know, and so it's this aura that you put out because you've built up that confidence and that strength within you because you've started boxing. Yeah. So I see that a lot.
Yeah, I love that you explained that because you're right. It's like even you could get all of the discipline, but first of all, if you were confronted on the street, like it's not like the other person has that discipline and you're going to square off into your stance and like, and you're going to like, right? Like, so, and I think, so you're not naturally going, well, I have to box this person, but being able to experience yourself being strong and hitting the bag and delivering the punch and, you know, and your core is engaged, everything. You know that you're walking a little bit different. You have a different stance, so people might think twice about, okay, she's not as little as she looks. You know, there's something else going on there. Yeah. But I can hear you too. You know, why now this makes more sense about why you added weightlifting to what you're doing. Is that has to feel different too. That's a whole nother level, like of feeling. You know, you actually have muscles in places that you didn't think that you could have, right?
Yeah. My butt.
Yeah, your butt.
I have glutes.
Do you have a before and after butt
I wish I did. I really wish I did. I didn't have a butt before. Yeah. It's crazy, but the thing with that, you know, I know it's like the thing on Instagram, you know, butt workout and all that stuff. But the really great thing about having glutes, strong glutes, is that it saves your back. I mean, I have lower back issues, and now that I've strengthened up my legs and my glutes, I hardly ever feel the pain. Yeah. It holds everything. Like, if you can connect your mind to your butt and, you know, you're contracting your glutes, you're pretty much holding up your body.
That's
you know?
Such a great lie. You can feel your butt. You can connect to your butt. Your butt has just got a whole new sets of power.
Absolutely. It's very powerful.
It makes sense. I mean, this stuff that's good, you know, with the fibroids, one of the pain symptoms all the time is lower back. It's just constant pain. It's pushing up on that, and it's pushing up on your bladder. Like, you never know if you have to go to the bathroom or if you're completely done. But lower back, there's a lot of pain in there. So that makes a lot of sense to strengthen everything else.
Because it just helps you hold your body upright. You know, like if we have no muscle, we're just a skeleton. Yeah. And you can't, you know, what holds it up? Yeah. So having strong muscles is very important. Very important.
All right. Well, so is there anything else that you want to share, like that's important for you? You know, you've been in a position of empowering young adults. I know that you've worked with a lot of teens, and women are really drawn to you. And I know I can speak from experience that, you know, there is something that you're giving us, like empowering us to keep going and feeling better and stronger in your body. Is there anything that we haven't talked about that's really important for you to get out there about this sport, exercise, encouragement?
One thing, as I said, you know, growing up as an only child with a father, I didn't have any female role models. I didn't really have anyone in my life that was like a mother figure or, I mean, I did, my father had a girlfriend for about 5 years, and she was amazing. Like, she put pigtails in my hair and curled my hair and made me wear pink, and, you know, it was great. But other than that, I didn't really have a lot of female influence. My aunt was around, but she was very, what is the term? She was not a soft woman. She was a very stern and very, you know, disciplined, and so not a lot of like hugging going on, nothing like that. Yeah. So I didn't really have that. One thing that I've noticed over probably the past 5 years, so I created a brand called Too Pretty. So the movement is never too pretty. It's basically like, you're never too pretty to do anything. Yeah. Because when I was boxing, you know, people would look at my appearance and they'd, you know, oh, you box? Oh, why are you boxing? Oh, you're gonna mess up your face. You know, just really kind of, you know, ignorant remarks. But so I thought to myself, there are a lot of women and girls out there who are feminine. you know, very feminine, and yet they're doing activities that are what we consider, you know, boy activities, male-dominated sports or professions. But they're out there doing them, but not being taken seriously because they don't appear to be masculine. And that bothered me a lot. And so I created a brand as more of a movement, you know, kind of, you're never too pretty to do anything. And then we have race car drivers who are ambassadors, and, you know, MMA fighters and senators, and like, you know, a lot of different people have come in and contributed to the Never Too Pretty campaign. So the thing that I have found over the past 5 years of being a big part of that is that there is a huge female community that I was completely unaware of. And the love and the support that I have felt from them is something I've never experienced before. I didn't even know existed. You know, the only girls that, you know, when you grow up, you have the girls that are always like kind of mean to you and not supportive, right?
Yeah.
They're jealous, so they want to be mean to you. Yeah. And so that was really all that I knew. And I say jealous because that's what my father used to tell me. Yeah. He's like, Cary, they're just jealous of you. That's why they're being mean. That's why they're bullying you.
We're told, oh, you only pick on the people you love. Like, who?
Right.
That's such a weird thing to be told as a kid.
But you know, you roll with it to get through it. And so to have that feeling of support from women, I mean, incredible. And so to me, being able to, I guess, be present, like with you, like right now, and all of my gals that are at the club, and all of the trainers that I train through B&B, all the women who are on my social media that that inspire me, who say I inspire them. It's kind of this mutual thing, and having all the business experience that I have and being able to give that to anybody who asks me, you know, especially for women, because it is a really tough, I mean, business is still kind of male dominated. I mean, just in general. But, you know, a lot of these women are coming from different industries. A woman just recently on my Instagram, she created a company that's in the energy sector. And I mean, this is like big business. And she has created this whole company on her own. But she's in a man's world, you know? And we connected like immediately. But like being able to have that and the energy around it is astounding.
And that's something that I felt in class too, because it's clear you're the coach, and I'm going to listen to you, and I'm not going to give you an excuse. I'm going to do what she said, you know. But it's so much fun. Like, it's so much fun. I felt the energy of the other women. Like, it feels good. Like, there's something different going on that, you know, felt safe, that, you know, we were giggling and laughing and like, you know, just working on other stuff. We're like working on other stuff as we're doing our stuff too, like talking. May have talked about men. I don't know. Possibly. We've possibly done that. But yeah, it feels good. I'm glad that to hear. It's really encouraging to hear you say that you've found the best way to connect and empower and be with other women, and that does come across in class. That is a big difference, because I definitely have tried to do other things. I just haven't been able to stick to it. And one of them, like, I had a really amazing yoga practice. I lived in Dallas for 10 years and then moved here. And I had an amazing yoga practice in Dallas. And then I moved here and started taking yoga classes, and none of my yoga friends are gonna like hearing this. A couple of them are really good, and they know who they are. But how I experienced yoga in LA was, there were a lot of women that wanted to be an actress, and now they're a yoga instructor, and it was kind of their chance to be up in front of people. And the first situation that I was in when I moved here, I actually managed a yoga studio. I was trying to figure out what I was going to do. And I would experience these teachers being just assholes. I'm sorry, like out of class, they were not living a good life, but then would get in class and tell you how to live your life. And I'm like, you either need to be quiet or, you know, because that's not authentic, and I know who you are, and you're in no better position to tell me, and I don't want to learn from you because this is so hypocritical. So
well, the thing is that you say that happens in the yoga industry. It happens in boxing too now. Like over the past probably 3 or 4 years, it has exploded as far as boxing being in the fitness industry. And there are these studios that have opened, and they're bringing on female trainers that are former dancers.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's great. You know, people can go and work out, but it is just a different thing. It's not, or they have, or actually some women feel really great to go and train with male trainers because they feel like they need that extra attention. So like maybe they're lacking, you know, getting attention somewhere else, like for someone to make them feel pretty or whatever it is that they think they need to feel. And there's that male trainer that's making them feel that way. So I mean, there's some ladies that have actually told me that before that come to me now, and they'll still, you know, say, you know what? Honestly, like I went to this gym and, you know, that trainer was making me feel like I was awesome. Yeah. You know? But then they figure it out and they're like, you know what? I need to make myself feel like I'm awesome. You know, I don't need to look for someone else to make me feel that way. And so you'll notice that in the club, the ladies know their shit.
And we also know, and I don't think either one of us are trying to like dog out anybody, because like if something's working for you, go do it. But I know myself, and I do feel good about myself. And at this point in my life, I pursue things that feel good to me, that support who I am. And,
absolutely.
And I pick up on. You know, I'm way past being, I'm an empath. I feel everything. You can blindfold me, put me in a room, and I'll tell you exactly what kind of energy is in that room. And so if I feel anything off energetically with people, like I can't stick to that, because I ultimately know how it feels to feel good, and I want to keep that going. So
and you know what you need.
Yeah, and I know what I need.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
So maybe the bigger point of why we would both share this, if anybody's like, oh my God, they're really talking bad about people, is, you know, at first, if you try something and it just doesn't feel right to you, just keep trying, because it's maybe a difference of environment. I mean, when Cary came into the space station, really commented on, you know, it feels good in here. Like, so the environment of a gym, the trainer, the people in class, those are all different. And then the actual activity that you're doing, those are all elements that they all have to be aligned with you and what you want for you to come back. So if you're not getting that somewhere, don't go, oh, I hate gyms. Like, cause I sort of said that to myself. I don't like the smell of gyms. I don't like the big class setting. Like, you know, but I think everybody can find something physical that they'll like. You just have to keep trying. I mean, there are more private places like yours. They're bigger places. Just keep trying. I think that's probably our encouragement.
Definitely. I go on a bit of a rant sometimes, because being in this world and committing my whole life to this sport and taking it very seriously, when I see, you know, former cheerleaders and dancers becoming boxing coaches, that, you know, it is upsetting. And I don't, it's hard to explain, I guess, but it really hit home when I got a phone call. There was a man who called the club, and he said, oh, are you one of the coaches? And I said, yeah, I'm the coach. And he said, oh, okay. And he's like, well, you know, what kind of experience do you have, kind of thing, you know? And I said, this is my name. I said, if you Google me, I said, you'll find a lot of information, you know. And he goes, oh, I'm sure you have a lot of followers.
Oh.
And it just set me off. Because the thing that bothered me most was that then I got put into this bucket. Yeah. This bucket of, I'm a social media influencer that now teaches boxing. Yeah. And it rubbed me the wrong way.
How did you respond to that?
I just hung up on him. I did. I was like, this guy isn't even worth my time. But it's frustrating, because when you spend, anybody out there who spends 20 years doing one thing and giving their whole life to that one thing, and then someone steps in and has zero experience in it, comes from a whole different world, and then all of a sudden people look at them like they're, you know, an expert or whatever. I mean, I get it. Believe me, I understand the world and how it works. You know, because everybody likes, you know, what is shiny and new. Yeah. You know, that's kind of how we are.
Well, this is, and we actually talked about this on the last show too. This is also how crazy social media has made everything, because it, you know, it doesn't matter how many likes, follows, whatever you have, or what you're doing there. Like, you have a strategy. I have a strategy with what I'm going to put out in social media. It has to do with what other things are on my plate, and, you know, and what I feel good about putting out. And sometimes it changes because I'm not feeling it. But that's one part. It's not to say that it's like so separate from who you are. But when we make judgments, and all this is a machine of quick judgments. Like for that person to say that really quickly without like checking everything else out, like, okay, you know, that's your lens. But if he had, you know, investigated or asked another question or wasn't so weird about that, like we all know social media is a little weird. We all have our kind of weirdness about what we're posting and what we're not going to post and our vulnerabilities. To like make it about that is really annoying.
Yeah, it's just that I think that in the whole, like the generalization that people see now as boxing, a boxing studio, immediately they go, oh, well, if it's a female trainer, then she's probably a former cheerleader or a former dancer. But that's what I'm saying is that now it's gotten to that point in the industry, which is disheartening to me because there are a lot of badass female boxing coaches out there that nobody knows about, that nobody even sees. So some people are doing it because it's trendy. And some people are really doing it because, like, this is my life. This is what I'm into. And they're really good at it. And they
just
put
because
in
they're not good at social media doesn't mean they're less valued, right?
You know, that's the sad part is that, you know, there are a lot of really, really amazing female coaches out there, but nobody knows of them or, you know, because they're not over there trying to get as many likes or as many followers.
And it's probably, and running over, I would guess because of your business background, like as social media broke, you're like, okay, I understand this as a business tool, and that's how you started doing it. It wasn't like the trendiness. It was like, oh, this is the new tool to market my business, so I'm going to get on this.
Absolutely.
And you just pay attention to like what people are doing and continue to do it.
And it has turned out to be a really great platform for me to share content, which I didn't realize initially. And now I know, like, that is a really great way for me to get out.
Stay in front of people.
Just to give people valuable information. You know, on a bigger platform. So that's been really nice.
Definitely. All right, there's 2 more things that we get to do, and I know we're running over on time, but I'm going to do it anyways. So every guest that sits on the couch, I ask this same question, and the question is, what does this phrase exceptional human encounter mean to you? Like, if you've never heard somebody say that before, but I know you have because you know me, but what would it mean to you? Like, what would be your definition of an exceptional human encounter?
It would be to randomly meet somebody and then have something transpire that was so profound that you didn't forget it. And it impacted you.
That's a great answer. I haven't heard that one yet. That's a really great answer. I think it's really random too. I think it's almost spiritual that it's that kind of connection, and in that moment it kind of takes you off guard. You're like, whoa, I was supposed to have this moment with you. And you get goosebumps or, you know, whatever, but it's implanted in your memory in a way that's very significant.
And you remember it and you hold it.
Can you think of one that's happened recently that you're like, oh yeah, this would be a good example of that?
You know, there was a gal who I was just shutting the gym down. I was locking the door and she came around and was knocking on the door. And, you know, I was like, gonna be like, oh, we're closed. But I was like, oh, I'll let her in. And then she saw one of the Never Too Pretty shirts actually was hanging up or something. And she said, oh, I really love this shirt. I think it was like Never Too Pretty to Fight or something. And then we started chatting, and then she told me like this whole, you know, experience that she was having, and she went through a breakup, and she was moving back home, but she was writing a book. Like, she was going through some really big life changes. But the way she was so excited about what Never Too Pretty meant, and like how she really kind of like owned it. Like, it was like, that's a part of me. Like, I feel like it's me that you're talking about. And then she posted on social media this long, you know, kind of a post about having a conversation with me, and just that encounter that we had. It was like just very random. And I didn't have to answer the door. I was ready to walk the other way. I could have just, you know, walked around, but I went right back to the door and opened it, and it was just an amazing encounter.
I love that. That is a great example too, because it's like you could have made a different decision, but you're really connected, and that connection resonated with her, and she shared, and who knows who else, you know, was inspired by what she posted. I love that. I love the encounters that keep on giving, that like have kind of a ripple effect. I love hearing about those. Yay. Okay, so the last thing that we get to do together is, so I like to issue a social challenge of the week on the show. It's my way of saying, hey, just keep a relationship with learning. I think it's really important in this time and age that we, you know, are constantly learning, and there's no downsides to learning. There's no downsides to having a relationship with learning. So, and I significantly care about how people are relating with each other, and I think we can always learn how to do that better.
Yes.
So we issue a social challenge of the week. Before you sat down, I wrote, like, I really was leaned into reminding people of where they are strong. So if they're experiencing their life and they're going, oh, I'm not strong in this area. I'm not strong about having difficult conversations, or, you know, I've been down and I like, you know, it hurts or whatever. It could be physical, it could be mental, it could be spiritual, like where you feel like you're not strong. And so I wanted people to just do a little journaling assignment around, well, where do you feel strong? Because we all feel strong in some aspects. Maybe it's like you're just a great cook, and like you really bring people together when you present a meal, and that makes you really kind of puff your chest up a little bit and go, I did this, I brought people together. Like, that's strength, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So the idea of just journaling like 5 ways, you know, at least 5 things that make you feel strong. And maybe going as far as to go, and where else would I like to feel stronger? What do you think about that? You think that's a good kind of...
5's a lot for me. But...
5's a lot? Should we do it 3? Just 3?
3, I can do 3.
Okay, 3. So we're encouraging people to do a little journal assignment of where do you feel strong in your life, at least 3 things, and then let's say 3 areas that you'd like to feel stronger. And then the bonus thing would be like, how could you pursue those? Like if you list 3 things, go, yeah, I'd like to feel stronger in this area. You know,
how do you get there?
What's your next step? Just one step. Because a lot of times I think we as humans, we get stuck in like, I want the end result, right? Like,
oh yeah,
I want to be able to box in the ring, like you could do, but I just want to be able to hit the bag on Wednesday night and deliver all my combos, you know, like little steps, like only concentrate on that first step and then concentrate on the next one and concentrate on the next one. So yeah, you think that feels good for their challenge? All right.
Yeah, we can do that.
We can do that. All right. And if you do it, you know, Cary's Instagram handle has been on the screen, and of course I'll share all of her other ones when we recap the show. But if you do the social challenge, let us know. Let us know how that was. Maybe you find out that you want to box.
Yeah.
And you want to lift some weights. And you reach out to her.
Share it.
Share it. All right. So that brings us to the end. Thank you so much for coming here.
Thank you.
It's cool to see you in my space, because I see you in your space every week. And now I'm like, she's in my space.
Yay.
Like, yay. So thank you. I'll see you tomorrow.
Yes, tomorrow night.
Yeah, I gotta sign up for class, but I'll do it.
Okay.
All right. So that brings us to another end of a Relatable episode. As always, I just want you guys to be thinking about what can you do to make an exceptional encounter happen today and tomorrow and the next day. See you next week.